Welcome to today's video. Have you ever wondered why certain ideas, trends, or behaviors suddenly explode in popularity while others quietly disappear? Why does one message spread like wildfire while another fizzle out? In his best-selling book, The Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell reveals that social epidemics, whether it's a viral trend, a crime wave, or a product launch, follow very specific patterns. And more importantly, they all have a tipping point, a magical moment when things go from slow to unstoppable. In this video, I will walk you through the key ideas from the book in a simple, conversational way, no jargon, no fluff, just real life insights that help you understand how changes happens and how you can spark it. So let's begin it. So in this first part, we will discuss what is a tipping point. A tipping point is the critical moment when an idea, trend, or behavior crosses a threshold and spreads rapidly, like how one match can ignite a forest. Gladwell uses the analogy of epidemics. Think about how a virus spreads. It starts small, one person gets sick, then two, then a dozen, then 100. Suddenly, thousands are infected. That sudden acceleration, that's the tipping point. But tipping points are not just about diseases. They apply to fashion trends, viral videos, political movements, and even crime rates. Gladwell believes that these big changes don't require huge efforts. Instead, they rely on small inputs carefully placed. A few key people, the right message, and just the right time. Let's dive into the three core principles that drive every tipping point. The number one is the law of the few. Not everyone matters equally when it comes to spreading ideas. Gladwell says a few special people play a much bigger role. These people fall into three groups. Group A are called connectors. Connectors are people who seem to know everyone. They move across different worlds, social, professional, geographic. They bridge gaps between communities. If you told a connector some interesting news, they could spread it to hundreds without even trying. They are the reason word of mouth travels so fast. Second are called mavens. Mavens are information experts. They love learning and love sharing what they know. They are the friend you ask before buying a phone or picking a new restaurant. But mavens don't just inform, they influence by making smart, trusted recommendations. And the third are salesmen. Salesmen are natural persuaders. They have charisma, confidence, and emotional IQ. They know how to get others excited and on board. Even if you are unsure, a salesman can move you to action. Together, connectors, mavens, and salesmen kickstart social epidemics. Think of Paul Rever's ride in 1775. He was not the only one who tried to warn people about the British invasion, but his message spread far and fast because he was a connector. He knew exactly whom to tell. Compare that to William Davis, who carried the same message on a different route. Few heard him, and his ride made little impact. Same message, very different results. The second key factor is called the stickiness factor. It's not just who spreads the message, it's also how memorable the message is. The stickiness factor is what makes people pay attention, remember, and act. Some content just sticks. Think of jingles like I am loving it or where is the beef, simple lines that stay in your head for years. Gladwell shows how small tweaks can improve stickiness. Children's TV shows like Blue's Clues are use repetition and direct questions to hold kids' attention. They don't change the message, they change the delivery. And that makes all the difference. Here is a point: for an idea to tip, it must be designed to stick in people's mind. If they forget it, it dies. If they remember it, it spreads. And the third factor is the power of context. This is one of the most surprising insights in the book. Gladwell argues that people's behavior is heavily influenced by their environment, often in ways they don't even realize. He uses the example of New York City in the 1990s. Violent crime dropped dramatically, and some people thought it was because of big policy changes. But others credited smaller efforts like fixing broken windows, cleaning graffiti, and stopping fare jumpers on the subway. These small environmental shifts signaled that rules were being enforced and people responded. Gladwell also talks about Kitty Genovese, a woman murdered in New York in 1964 while 38 neighbors watched and no one called for help. Social psychologists later found that when more people are present, we feel less responsibility to act, a phenomenon called the bystander effect. So, what's the takeaway? Even tiny changes in context, temperature, lighting, cleanliness, group size can cause massive shifts in behavior. If you want to tip an idea or stop a bad trend, start by adjusting the environment. You have probably heard the 6 degrees of separation. But where does it come from? In the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram ran an experiment. He asked people in Nebraska to send a letter to a stranger in Boston, but only two friends. Most letters got there in just 5 or 6 steps. But here is what's fascinating: many of letters passed through the same few people. These were connectors, the hidden hubs of the social network. Gladwell argues that this same dynamics exists in every community. Most of us are connected through a tiny group of socially gifted individuals, people who seem to sit at the center of the web. You might think your social circle is large and diverse, but if you trace your relationships backward, you will find that many of your connections likely stem from just a few people. One person can be the bridge to an entire new world. That's why who you know and who they know matters more than we think. Gladwell's theory is more than academic, it's visible everywhere. A shoe brand like Hush Puppies becomes a fashion craze overnight, not because of ads, but because a few trendsetters wore them. A crime wave drops when a city cleans graffiti. A children's show becomes wildly successful by changing how it speaks to its viewers. A message like the British are coming spreads rapidly because the right person told the right people. These are social epidemics and they follow the rules of the tipping point. So, whether you are a teacher, a business owner, a content creator, or just someone who wants to create impact, the takeaway is this: small changes, the right people, a sticky message, and a favorable environment. These are the ingredients for a real lasting change. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the tipping point, consider subscribing for more narrative videos on best selling books, psychology, and the science of influence. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen a trend or idea suddenly tip? What made it spread? Until next time, remember little things really do make a big difference.